a really tight race, I expect.
Oh yeah. And it seems like we're good to go. So yeah, like, I think especially on the left and bottom half, it's gonna be quite a close one. Just waiting for the sync to kick in a bit, but I guess most of us folks watching this stream know the first few 5 minutes of this game pretty well. I mean, it's mostly optimization of movement and lots of pumping.
Yeah, it's pretty simple. And even pumping is not too important.
Yeah, rather just like don't nudge anywhere.
Basically, like if you're... I'm going to briefly explain pumping. I don't want to go too technical because it's really confusing, but if you're facing up or left, you can mash diagonals, and they have a chance of resetting your animation, your walking animation, to save you some pixel movements.
Trying to sneak through these green guards there. Like, they can give you a hard time. Like, I would say all in all, the first 5 minutes, the first part, the escape doesn't matter too much, as long as you don't screw up the ball and chain guard too much.
Yeah, probably the ball and chain guard is the scariest. There's a couple strategies that... There's a couple different strategies people use for that, so we'll see once they reach the basement if who decides to throw a pot at the ball and chain guard, or who decides to do 4 extra slashes. So they all got the spin attack strat on this first key guard very nicely.
I always have to laugh when I see that part, because I remembered Eddie's tutorial. He was like explaining going around that corner at the bottom and then just pump the out of that wall, you know. He was like having a quite literal explanation towards the first part here when it comes to pumping. I mean, like, if you really pump a lot and if you pump quite aggressively, it can be somewhat exhausting. But it's also a motivation not to do too many resets, I guess.
Yeah, I find if I'm resetting in the first 10 minutes a lot, my thumb starts to get really sore.
Oh yeah. Oh, you use your thumb for pumping?
I pump quite a lot, but so Eddie first to reach the ball and chain guard. He's doing the 8/ strat.
Nice, with a beautiful boomerang at the end. That's like really what you want to see there. Having a really Tez-like run so far, you could say. Both making it into Zelda's chamber, if you will, at like low 3-0 something. So that's pretty good.
Yeah, so the 8/ strat is the fastest because you're ideally pushing the guard upwards so it drops the big key right in front of the door. If you use the pot, you're going to push it to the right, which is going to drop the key a little bit away from you.
Needless to say, it needs less optimization to use the pot, in my opinion. But you still can use the boomerang even if you're doing no pot strats here, just to get the big key a little bit faster, as opposed to it dropping onto the ground and then picking it up. Eddie having a 351 leaving the basement, that's pretty darn good so far. All leaving it for low-ish, 4 flat-ish basement, so no major screw-ups so far. And like we expected, Jeff and Jim being like very close still, very close. So
yeah,
see if this will continue throughout the race. Yeah.
So it's kind of interesting to me. Like, obviously Eddie, his PB is much better than all these other runners, and you can see the tiny little time saves everywhere, how they've added up so far.
Oh yeah.
Where the other 3 people are mostly tied. There's not too much really that can go wrong at this stage, but Eddie's just that much further ahead because of his technical ability.
I mean, we have to say Eddie has been speedrunning this game for like 4 or 5-ish years, I would say non-stop. No, well, not non-stop is probably not that true. I actually didn't talk about him that much, but I know he speedruns only this game, and he's quite enthusiastic when it comes to practice and improving yourself. So he's a big shot when it comes to maybe eventually pushing world record. We'll see.
Yeah, he's gotten pretty close to it. I don't think he does other categories, so he's very focused player.
Yeah.
Okay, so
if he grabbed the key.
Yeah, he got the key. So the rat in this room can troll you sometimes. Like you know which specific rat it is, kind of like, but it can either move to the right, or it can stay in the bottom left corner, or it can move to the top left corner, which we call northwest key rat, which is really bad because he ends up all the way up there.
And on top of that, it's even way worse if like the other rat gets in front of the northwest rat and you kill both, and the non-northwest rat, the non-key rat, drops a rupee and you pick up the rupee. So it can be like really awful. Eddie resetted his timer for some reason, I don't know.
Seems like it was an accident. It happens sometimes.
Yeah, but I guess it's like a 5:50. We have to add 5 minutes and 50 seconds to his timer.
So Eddie has skipped the Sanctuary Heart, which is something I would not recommend that about 99% of players do, but the very top players skip it in their runs. This heart, obviously you have 4 instead of 3, which is a large, it's a large boost this early in the game.
Oh yeah, and especially in some splits later in the game. I mean, you have to fight some really tough bosses, some really tough dungeons with 1 heart, with like less 1 heart. That's especially when it comes to Vitreous and Misery Mire. I frighten that stage. I would be frightened doing that stage and that boss without the additional Sanctuary Heart.
Yeah, so all these runners are making their way to Eastern Palace. The Light
World. Lots of pumping.
Yeah, lots of pumping. Especially when they're going upstairs here, you can make very good use of the pumping technique because you can actually mash diagonals against both walls at the same time. And your movement speed, if you don't reset your walking animation, can be much slower on stairs than it is walking normally. So it actually is important there.
Yeah, especially on stairs, you want to start pumping as quickly as possible once you learn this game. Beautiful room by Eddie there. Like he stole that one from Blunt Bunny's Tess.
Yeah, so the skeleton room, if you walk a certain path, then you'll only get 2 of the skeletons to spawn instead of the normal 4. Looks like Greff messed up that room a little bit. He spawned an extra skeleton, which he had to take extra time to kill.
It happens. It's also relaxing, the part where you have only walk to the right and you don't have to pump.
So I noticed something else too, and that's that Eddie also skipped the right side arrow pot.
Oh yeah, right.
Which saves about a second. This is pretty risky because if you do not get an extra arrow drop from any of the Igors that you kill later in Eastern Palace, then you're going to be short arrows for Armos, I believe.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, like, you can get no arrows at all in the somewhat infamous called Zelda Gamer Room. You can get no arrows from the red guys in the room later. So, well, if you get really bad RNG, you might have to pick up some of the pods in that room. But I mean, like, it happens quite rarely, I guess.
I think it's 1 in 8. Like, you have to lose 3 coin flips to not get your arrow drop. But it can still happen for sure.
I mean, like a player like Eddie is used to doing offensive and risky strats, so he should be fine, I think.
Oh, he's getting really bad. The cannonballs.
Bad RNG there, yeah. And he gets his drop, so he's off the hook there.
Gem having some trouble with the cannonballs as well. So Eddie's strat for Armos, I think it's the most common nowadays. The top right strat. Bottom right is much easier. I see most people start with that, but I think all these guys are probably skilled enough to go for the top right. Oh, is Zeus having a bit of trouble?
Seeing red almost down.
So yeah,
good,
everyone else. Sorry. Looks like everyone else got the Armos strat down.
Yeah.
Zeus had a bit of trouble, unfortunately, allowing the last one to turn red, which resets its HP, which wastes a few arrows and some time.
Yeah. Yeah, like that's the thing with that strat. I mean, you have to be sure of your rhythm when it comes to firing the arrows into the Almost Knights. If you screw up that, or if you screw up your positioning, you not only getting the red armors at the end, but you're also losing additional arrows, which can be crucial when it comes to the Lanmola fight, because that one is also quite easy to screw up in my opinion, and you're having not that many arrows for the rest of the run. That's kind of annoying. I mean, you want to have it like at least, I guess, 6 or 7-ish arrows when you go into Aghanim's tower.
Yeah, having the arrows are nice for a couple of the rooms. Definitely save a lot of time on the ball and chain guards, and sometimes the red guards later.
Yeah. Well, also we're seeing here little route divergence. negaZeus, for example, was picking up the 100 rupees behind Shalash. That is like the fella that gives us the boots. And so he doesn't have to worry anymore about his rupees, but I guess he lost like around 10 or 15 seconds because he had to make the detour and open the hidden room behind I don't even remember his name. Like, I'm always saying Shalash because like it's not that much of a mouthful. But I guess it's Sahashalar or something like that.
I'm pretty sure it's pronounced Sarsaparilla or Sriracha or something like that.
I hope you guys are fine if I'm just going with Shalash for now. But he didn't, interestingly, he didn't pick up the bombs. He can pick up 3 additional bombs, but well, in Light World you don't have to worry that much about bombs, so I guess you get enough bombs to make it through the Light World there.
That actually is interesting that he did not pick up the bomb chest in Sahasrara, because you're right next to it. You don't need them, but I personally feel like they're nice to have.
Yeah, I mean, you're already in there, so you can just, like, pick up the chest. I mean, you got, like, the extra text box that says, oh, you found 3 bombs, but shouldn't waste too much time. But, I mean, it's like, it's a question of on how safe you want to play the race, the game.
Eddie with a very nice poke dash through that antlion. I think it's called an antlion.
I think they're antlions, yeah. Sahasrara, yeah, Sahasrara. I guess it's the same in the German version. I should know that. So, like, the other players who didn't pick up the extra rupees behind Sahasrara, they're gonna use some manipulation later to pull at some trees, and the trees will spill rupees for whatever reason. Because, yeah, that's a link to the past. And if you do that in the proper manner, they will always give you enough rupees so you can actually collect throughout the Light World 110 rupees you're gonna need to open up the first dungeon in the Dark Palace. In the Dark World, which is the Dark Palace. Is it called Dark Palace? Palace of Darkness. Yeah.
It is. It's either, honestly. In the credits, the dungeon name says Dark Palace, but in the text in the game, Sahasrara refers to it. Oh, I accidentally said his name correctly. Oops. Sahasrara refers to it as the Palace of Darkness, and I think most people talking about the game do. But yeah, so the other 3 runners that do not have Sahasrara's rupees, they're going to have to do tree pulls, and this is going to be after Tower of Hera. And it relies on enemy kill counters and also not taking damage, so there is some risk involved.
Yeah, like you can get bad RNG and it will screw you over.
With Saha's rupees, there's basically no risk involved, so it's a favored strat for some runners.
Yeah, like, I mean, the rupee strat is also something you have to practice. I just, like, not recently, but I switched to a rupee pull strat like 2 months ago or so. For whatever reason, I mean, like, it's slightly faster, but it's, like, in race context, I guess it's definitely something that is not necessary to have a good race. I mean, like, there's so many other parts you have to execute well.
Yeah.
We're gonna see we're gonna see the first Lanmola fight here at Eddie's screen. Getting 2 and 2. Well, with some worse RNG, but I guess he's doing fine. Looks like it's gonna be a quick free cycle.
This fight is extremely difficult to do well in the NMG categories because your strongest weapon against them is the bow. 4 arrows will kill a worm, whereas it takes 8 slashes.
And you're somewhat dependent on their RNG patterns.
Yes.
But like top runners like Eddie, they get consistent free cycles. It's I don't get it how they do it, but it's it's like it's just I'm speechless.
I think everyone's fight seemed to go decently well.
Yeah.
Between 3 and 4 cycles from everyone, it looked like.
No big hiccups. Like for a non-godlike runner, Eddie aside, I think a 17:30 is a decent time for a race when it comes to finishing the Lanola fight.
Yeah, I think that's around my average. So Zeus is a bit behind the other people, but he did also pick up the Sahasrara rupees, which I've been talking about for like 5 minutes now. So.
Also noticeable, we didn't see any cactus dash, so no swag tonight.
So Eddie pulled off a very nice fake flippers, which it looks like all 4 runners are going for. This trick saves about 6 seconds over walking around the overworld to Death Mountain.
Yeah.
And it's just done by jumping into the water and transitioning the screen 1 frame later. The game kind of forgets to check if you have the flippers or not.
Yeah. And you have to make sure you get into the portal on time, because there is a chance of soft locking. If the guy hits you while you're in the fake flipper state, I mean, there's like a guy appearing and shooting, I don't know what it is.
That's a Zora, actually.
Yeah, Zora, right.
The Zoras in the other, the 3D games at least, are a lot friendlier than these guys.
We can see how fast Eddie is going up these stairs just using pumping. Guess he also used a visual cue there to get a quick warp. If you're standing on a certain X position, I was told, then you can make your warps be faster. I don't know how it works game-wise, but it's like weird stuff I haven't figured out yet.
So quick warps. If you're standing on two specific pixels in the X coordinate, 2 out of every 8 will give you a quick warp, and that is just a warp animation that's 34 frames faster so about half a second. And it depends on the camera alignment. It's actually not where Link is standing.
Oh.
So if there are some quick warps, like if you're a runner and you move around a lot before like aligning for a certain quick warp, and it doesn't work, even though you think you're standing in the right spot, that's probably why. I did not understand that distinction for a long time myself.
Okay. Good to know. It's something like that is on my, you know, in my bad bank of speedrun strats when it comes to this game.
It's like not super important, but it's a pretty free time save if you know where to stand, so.
Yeah. Also beautiful boomerang dash by Eddie. Like, it's a bit of a time save, but to me it is always more important that it's like just 20 seconds where you can rest a little bit, rest your hands, and just breathe through while the tie room animation is going on.
We have some very nice pot dodging from the others, though. Gem in particular, he's showing off a tiny little glitch, so he's actually moving at, I think he's moving at full speed with that pot above his head. If you brush up against the crystal switch with the pot above your head, normally you walk slower with the pot, but if you touch the crystal switch, it will actually reset your speed to normal, which makes the animation look kind of funny.
I'm excited about the room we're seeing on Eddie's screen there. I saw him practicing that for quite a bunch on his SD2 SNES. Oh,
wow.
Ooh, that's unfortunate.
Okay. So he's going for the bomb jump to get the Moon Pearl chest more quickly. And unfortunately, if you miss that, you fall 2 floors. He's actually mirroring to the start of the dungeon because it's faster to just do that than have to hit that switch where he was trapped, so.
Yeah, and also you get the extra bomb again from the pod there.
Yeah, so there's that at least.
Yeah, there's that, and we're gonna see Jeff and Gem also having trouble there.
Wow,
Jeff
Gem
pulled it
actually.
off. Oh, sorry, Gem fell down. Jeff pulled it off really nicely. Skipping the arrows down.
His name is Gref with a hard G.
Oh, sorry, my God.
Yeah.
Gref and Gem messing him up.
It's kind of confusing, but
yeah.
Eddie getting it second try, actually behind Gref now.
Yeah.
Which I honestly didn't expect this early.
Gref doing the dash strats on Molorum, looking pretty nice so far. Oh, got hit in like at that angle there. That's quite unfortunate. So that might Eddie give the time to take that back the lead.
So the strategy these guys were using for the bomb jump is kind of new tech, where if you're slipping off the edge and you have a spin attack charged, the game doesn't allow the spin to go through until you're not slipping off anymore. So you slip off, and then as soon as you return to normal ground, the spin will stop you from moving, which ensures you're on the furthest pixel. The bomb jump has a 2-pixel window normally. There is a bonking strat with the boots that will widen this to 6 pixels, which is much easier. But these guys tried to do the setup to save time. Ended up burning a couple of our runners.
Yeah. Indeed, Eddie was doing the super risky strat where you drop the bomb even a little bit earlier, so you save the 1 or 2 seconds the bomb timer takes to count down. Well, in his favor, Gem also dropped down, giving Eddie back the lead. He's a little short on arrows there with his 5 arrows going into the forest, but we're seeing the first rupee tree pull there. And they're trying to kill 4 enemies now till they get to the next tree right before they leave the forest to get some more big 20s. On additional note, like I actually not that surprised that we see like some lead changes and some back and forth when it comes to the Tower of Hera. Like, I mean, it's quite, the Moldorm is quite notorious in every Zelda game for having weird RNG patterns, which are kind of unpredictable in my opinion. And also, you should never underestimate the effect on, yeah, messing up the bomb jump there. That just like screws your run pretty much. Like, I guess you lose around a minute if you drop down at the bomb jump. So that's kind of unfortunate for Gem and Eddie.
It's a very bad time loss for sure. And so actually all these runners are getting a Master Sword time over 25 minutes, which I think is actually uncharacteristic for all four of these guys.
Kinda, yeah. Like, especially Eddie, you saw him slashing a few times there before. He was quite not amused about that. But like, that's what top runners in this game actually do. They play every time all in. They do risky stuff that can go wrong even if you practice it 1,000 times. It's just like, depending on perfect inputs, and you have to be top focused to align on the right pixels. Yeah, Eddie probably killed 5 enemies. Actually, I didn't notice, but as far as I know, it doesn't hurt to kill more than 4 enemies, and you still get the rupees.
Yeah, you'll get the tier 3 tree pull with 4 or more, as long as you do not take damage, of course. Which is part of the risk here I was talking about earlier. If you take damage during the section after you pull the first tree, but before you pull the second, that's going to give you blue rupees again, so you'll be short. There is a backup tree in the castle courtyard, but looks like none of our runners had to use it. And Zeus is actually making up a little bit of time here because he doesn't have to mess with the true rupees at all.
Yeah. Like on Gem's screen, we see the interesting strat there. I was expecting some arrows there. Like, that's an alternate strat, which is also pretty cool if you have the sword beams there. Because it actually saves the arrows he doesn't have, because he only has 6 arrows. So that's a cool thing. I'm gonna steal that from him if I'm low on arrows. We saw the alternate strat on Greff's screen, I guess, where you just like stay at the bottom and do a spin slash to kill both of the ball and chain guards. They can give you a hard time if you get a bad pattern. But if you practice them quite a bit, then you should be fine. Good execution on Greff's screen there with the red cards.
Zeus almost got pushed into the pit on the 4th floor. It's a pretty frustrating time loss.
Oh yeah.
So I see our bottom 2 runners had pretty good luck in the archer room with the last key. Managed to actually line up a key dash from the bottom of the room, which you don't always get to do that. Sometimes a guard can end up in your way.
Oh yeah.
Oh, that's not the last key guard actually. Circle of Pots is the last one.
We got blue balls going on Eddie's screen. Right away. He got 3 blue balls in a row. That's really, really unfortunate.
Yep, so the blue balls in the Aghanim 1 fight, you cannot reflect them. They're useless. They don't do damage, so each of them wastes 6 seconds. And he does a lightning strike every 5th attack. So if you don't manage to skip additional lightning cycles, those waste an additional 6 seconds, approximately. Being honest, I've lost track of how many blue balls these guys have gotten. I think Eddie got 3.
I think he had the average of 3 blue balls, yeah. Gref not being too far behind.
Blue ball RNG can definitely turn a race on its side, though.
Oh yeah. Like, that's actually what I dislike the most about Light World, that it's like, oh god. Like, Desert Palace, Tower of Hera, and Agate Tower, it's like... They are so unpredictable, in my opinion.
Gref and Gem are seeds 26 and 37, respectively. I think they're one of the closest matchups you're going to see in the group stage.
Yeah, I mean, like, we got, no, group ratings so far. Not group ratings, how do you call it? Group rankings so far, because, like, obviously those are the first matches of the tourney.
Yeah, but each group does have, one person, from each like, I guess, bucket of seeds that are called. So seeds 1 to 32, 33 to 64, and so on. Randomly, each group has one member from each of those categories.
Yes.
So it's actually somewhat random how close you're going to be to the other players in your group, but you'll still see that skill spread from the top 32 to the bottom 32.
Well, I mean, like, Eddie, he got the average 3 blue balls, and he got a really good Agate Tower. So he's, like, getting ahead already again. I mean, like, that's what he does. But luckily, negaZeus, Gref, and Gem, said it right this time, they're still quite close to each other, so this is going to be an interesting thing there on the bottom and the top left.
I think Gem actually saying in the chat he got 6 blue balls, which is pretty bad luck.
Yeah.
That's like maybe 24 seconds below average or so.
Going the safe strat there and dashing into that yellow thingy or whatever it is. Because, like, if you get hit there and you lose Kiki, then it's basically rip run. Or you have to, like, quickly farm some extra rupees.
Yes, and Dark World enemies do a lot of damage as well.
Yeah.
Those do 2 hearts. Which, you want to... Palace of Darkness especially, you want to keep your hearts as high as possible.
Oh yeah, and that's actually a big advantage on Eddie's... A big disadvantage on Eddie's side, because when going with full hearts into the boss fight, you can take 3 hits before you die. We see the first bomb jump here on Eddie's screen, top right.
Yeah, this is called the hammer jump, and it is pixel perfect on the Y position, both where you place the bomb and where Link stands afterwards. Gets it first try, very quickly. Unbuffered. I was not sure if my eyes were playing tricks on me.
Yeah, like that's where top players like Eddie, they just like. It's where they save 10 seconds or 15 seconds over an average player. Gref having a little trouble there, but like he can pick up the right pot and get another bomb. Choosing not to, but at least he opened up the cave already. No, not the cave, the crack in the wall to the right. Seems to have no trouble with the positioning there. Well played. Sexy statue on Eddie. Small frame savers.
Yeah, so what Sexy Statue is you can actually, normally you're pushing a statue, you're only pushing it in a single cardinal direction. But if you slide around the corner of it just right, you can start pushing it in the perpendicular direction as well, without stopping.
negaZeus having no trouble with the bomb jump there, playing it safely, doing his buffers. It's like actually something you want to do in a race. Especially if you're like under pressure.
Yeah, I'm honestly, I'm a little surprised at the stuff that Eddie is going for in the race.
Yeah, like it's just his thing, you know. He plays all in every time. I mean, he's using strats he's used to from using them into like RTA attempts, and it's just like how he does it in a race context.
Yeah, I guess like they're probably the best strats for him because he is so used to them. He does them every time.
Exactly.
So if he were to do some safe strats, then maybe he wouldn't be used to them. Maybe he'd screw them up. Who knows?
Yeah, I would definitely say so.
So he takes a tail hit from Helmasaur in his second phase, but he gets those hammer hits. Those hammer hits are very, very precise on the second phase.
They look so easy, but they're not.
It's so easy to just walk into Helmasaur, take 2 hearts of damage.
Like, he actually had a really decent Palace of Darkness there. Having also no trouble in the turtle room. We saw a little struggle on Greff's screen there, but had a good backup strat.
I see Gem is down to 5 hearts and Greff is down to 4, which
oh yeah, ooh,
could
4
be
hearts.
scary.
That's 2 hits.
Oh wow! So Gem actually that boomerang throw is just barely possible to hit the switch with the blue boomerang, but it's very difficult.
I've never seen that before.
Yeah, that is the thing. I don't actually know how to do it.
Less RNG on Greff. Oh, he made it. That was quite close. Good job on Greff.
Yeah, major relief for him because Helmasaur could have pinned him to the wall, could have spat out a fireball. So he lost. I'm not sure if he got hit. I think he got hit, which took him
he
out
got
of,
hit once. Yeah. Entering 4 hearts is scary enough.
So you're no longer holding your sword out, which makes it riskier to use the hammer. So if that happens, like you see Gem doing right now, he's just abandoned the hammer and he's just going for normal slashes.
Wise choice in race context.
And normal slashes do half the damage of a hammer hit, and a spin does the same damage. So it's nice to get those 3 hammer hits and then the final spin, but safety certainly more important.
Better safe than sorry.
So a Helmasaur death would lose like 2, maybe 2.5 minutes from just having to backtrack.
Oh yeah.
The boss deaths in Dark World are going to some are more common than others for sure, and they will waste varying amounts of time. Goldsteer in particular in the Ice Palace is a bad one.
In case you're wondering, Eddie already dashed into some wall there and got hit by the one thing which looks like a meat-eating plant or something, and made him lost 3 hearts already. But I guess shouldn't be too much of a problem for him when it comes to Thieves Town. I mean, these runners are used to play Thieves Town with low hearts.
Yeah, the opening match for this tournament, actually, TGH had some issues with the red guard and the overruled. It was actually down to 2 hearts at this point, and it did not opt to even use the apple tree that Eddie's going to pass by shortly. He did not even use that to refill, so we'll see what Eddie does. He's okay with just going with 4 hearts. Yeah, it looks like he's just gonna go.
Yeah. I mean, there might be the occasional fairy drop when you dash through the bushes when you come into the Dark World there.
I've had 2 fairy drops there sometimes. But they can also waste a lot of time because they'll fly in a random direction, so it can be difficult to pick up fairies even if you do get them.
Nega and Gref having no trouble with the spin speed there, and with our lovely red guard called Usain Bolt. Because if he screws with you, you're screwed big time. Because you're still in your glitched spin speed state, and you try to attack him, but your B button doesn't work. You first have to press dash again, so you unfreeze from your state. It's a mess. It's a big mess, and it actually happened to me more times than I like to admit. But yeah. I was told the door that Eddie just like got through fulfills the so-called bastard door condition, which are like doors where you have to go through. Oh my god, perfect hellway there. God Pixel and God RNG. Like, that's beautiful what we see on Eddie's screen there. It's like a door where you have to go through the cardinal direction. You're not allowed to push any diagonals or you lose momentum, and that can screw you up in the next room. So like there's all bits of tiny speed tech stuff to this run which you're barely able to recognize if you're not really deep into the speed tech. So like it's the no major glitches category, and like the glitches that we are allowed to use are like only a handful, I think, but there's so much tiny stuff which leads to optimizing this game to a level that you can push it down to like the 1:23.19 or what the world record is.
Yeah, I believe bastard doors are specifically ones that you either ones that shut behind you or ones that you unlock with the key that are going west to east. It's something like that. I don't remember the full details, but
yeah.
I think if you move a cardinal direction coming out of them, you will move slower. So the normal rule is that if you move diagonally next to a doorway or inside a doorway, you're going to move slower. And you want to avoid doing that. But these doors are called bastard doors because they violate this rule. And it's like, it's the tiniest detail of the game.
It's more like a meme between me and Zatox. Wow, Jam having really nice dash there.
That was amazing from Gem, actually. So he did not get the God Pixel at first, and he managed to adjust on the fly to land on it.
Yeah.
You have to be on that exact X coordinate to be able to dash all the way up through the hellway. And even if you are, there's no guarantee that there isn't going to be a cloud in your way or something to ruin it.
Patrick Star has no excuses there.
All right, Eddie making short.
By Eddie.
Yep, short work of this this blind fight, which is scripted, just like this tournament.
Well, to get it the scripted way, you still have to execute it perfectly. So like that's one thing you always have to say, because like I never get it like that.
It's like basically blind will do the same thing every single time. If you hit him on the first frame possible each time. Which is, it's not terribly hard to do. It's just one mess up and you're suddenly dealing with patterns you're not used to. So we'll see if the other guys manage to do the fight perfectly or not.
First cycle is kind of free though. Second cycle looks good on Gref. Yeah. Third cycle was not optimal, but like barely a second loss there, I think. Like he moved maybe a little further to the right compared to Eddie's fight, so it's no biggie. as long as you get the first and the second cycle done, as we see as well on negaZeus' screen, it shouldn't be too much of a problem as long blind stays to the top. And I mean, like, we never see this fight to the full extent with 3 blind heads flying around and shooting cannonballs at you. That's like really a mess. I mean,
well, if you die to the fight, then actually, it's entirely different. You're kind of on your own there. Fortunately, nobody has died yet. Nobody's taken a death out of 4 racers, which I think it's very. If I'm correct, I think I'm correct. But
no,
out of 4 racers, no safeties so far. That's impressive.
Yeah, also no powder strats. Like, that's interesting. You could have imagined that like runners with on a PB above 130 would probably take a safety. I think most runners who are like on a PB below a sub 130 use powder strats for don't use powder strats. I mean, you can get the magic powder, which is a neat backup to turn anti-fairies into actual fairies, but it wastes like 37 seconds, I was told.
That sounds about right. I see Eddie went for the fence dash in the village and did not get it. He bonked right into the fence.
Yeah, that's like I said, all in. He's doing all the weird shenanigans, even like this weird stuff that you don't really need, in my opinion, but like, that's his deal.
That fence dash is, I think you have to be on the exact right X coordinate. I think it's pixel perfect, and it saves like half a second. And I think the other runners may just walk further to the left to not attempt it and not risk bonking there. So nice mummy room from Eddie.
Yeah.
Did not take damage.
By the way, how are those yellow guys called? They are jumping around.
Oh, on the overworld, those are called Robas.
Robas?
Ropas.
Ropas. Oh, okay.
R-O-P-A.
R-O-P-A. Okay. I always call them weird, annoying yellow guys because that's what they are. Puddings! We could also call them puddings, right? I mean, fence dash is something that actually isn't even used by Zelda in his world right here, if I recall correctly. So like, it's just a crapshoot. Some top runners go for it, but I guess most runners should be better off with not doing the fence dash.
I think I remember the WQ going into a several minutes long explanation over why he wasn't attempting the fence dash anymore.
That doesn't surprise me.
So Eddie slashing that Gibdo into the spike, which normally takes 4 tempered hits to kill that Gibdo, but the spike actually does gold sword damage if you hit an enemy into it. And he defeated Mothra before I could even say anything about it.
Flawless fight by Eddie. Getting the double hit, then doing the how you call that, like the thing with the boots there when you stick out your sword, like the dash buffer.
That's called that's a poke dash.
Poke dash, yeah, the poke dash, and then the 4th hit, like all very precise, making this the perfect 4-hit thingy or whatever. Like it's top level play what we see on Eddie's screen there. Like a little hiccup every now and then, but like his level of execution nevertheless is so high that like it's no surprise that he's still in the lead by quite a bit.
So I just want to shout out. I missed this because I wasn't looking, but apparently Jem went for the fence stash like an idiot and still got it. Shoutouts to him.
Shoutouts to Jem. I'm already praying for Gref there. I'm about to enter the boss fight with one or maybe two hearts, picking up the safety heart there. That's quite reasonable. So let's see how he's doing on Moth. Trying to make use of that fire rod. Very, very good strat there. Trying to not take any unneeded hits.
Yeah, so the fire rod, it does half the damage of a 10% hit. Oh wow, insane fight for Jem.
That's perfect, very beautiful.
So this
also
is
fight by negaZeus.
Yeah, no deaths again. That's crazy.
Yeah, I wasn't sure about Gref. Like, he was entering the fight with 2 hearts, and I guess if you body Moth, you're losing 2 hearts. So
yeah, he had to be really careful, and I think that's why he chose to use the fire rod.
Definitely. It
doesn't do as much damage, but it's an effective way to flush Mothula out from being close to the spikes.
Yeah.
And if you if you hit Mothula into a spike, the spike, as I said for the Gibdo, it overwrites the damage that you hit, but Mothula is actually immune to spikes. Otherwise, you could just combo Mothula into spikes and kill it instantly. So, fight's unfortunately buggy. It's pretty luck dependent whether you can even do any damage.
Yeah, I remember from my casual playthroughs that this fight was really, really annoying because I was hitting him into the spikes every single hit. Even though I was having Gold Sword. You know, like, you can get Gold Sword in a casual playthrough and fight more for that.
So spikes do Gold Sword damage. They're the same damage class, and if you slash Mothula with the Golden Sword, it will do 0 damage.
Oh, that must be it, yeah.
Yeah, so that's the only way to reliably damage Mothula if you have the Gold Sword is to poke it.
That explains quite a lot.
This game is crazy. So these guys have all gone to the castle after, fluted to the castle after Skullwoods, because that's the fastest Dark World portal to get to the Quake Medallion, which they need to open Turtle Rock. This bonk that you see the players do after throwing the object into the circle sets you up perfectly for a quick warp. So that's why you see everyone do that.
For the longest time I thought it was only for swagginess, and then one time Zatox told me like, yo Bamboo, what the hell are you doing there? Because I was always moving not cardinally, like in a cardinal direction upwards. I was always like moving diagonally and screwing up the quick warp, but I mean like it was long before I knew that actually such thing like quick warp exists, you know. Like, I learned this game with Fruit Bats tutorial, and from on that I like barely read any tutorial or stuff. Like, I only watched runs and tried to replicate that.
Yeah, that explains a lot, actually.
Yeah, of course, trying to make use of any save and quit tutorial every now and then to check out some strats here and there. But I would say I'm a rather new runner when it comes to this game, and not too savvy about tech stuff and so, these things.
Well, you got a 128. That's a pretty good time. But it makes sense because Fruit Bats' tutorial is specifically geared towards beginners and doesn't deal with a lot of the like advanced frame-specific, pixel-specific knowledge that I've been talking about a lot. So,
yeah, like, that's the thing. I mean, the quick warp is free, but you just have to know it, you know? You just have to take your time, and I mean, like, it doesn't come from now, like, it doesn't come with the first run you do in this game.
Yeah, for sure. You don't need to know this stuff, which is why he doesn't cover it. I personally think these things are interesting, so that's kind of why I'm pointing out a lot of them.
Yeah, and that's great. I mean, like, there are probably a bunch of runners who are in this tourney not knowing that much about the game. So, like, it's a cool thing that you got this bunch of knowledge just to put out there in a game. I mean, like, we got some old school runners in the chat there. They, of course, they are like, oh, these guys with this old stuff here. But, like, maybe I'm also learning something new tonight, you know, like the quick walk thingy you told me before. And we're seeing a very advanced strat on the cold stare fight, perfectly executed by Eddie on the top right there. So
that is quite difficult to pull off.
Oh yeah. Also quite that was tough RNG there on Gem. Actually knowing the backup strat with a bomb there, I never seen that before. That's a cool backup strat.
I did not know you could do that.
Yeah.
That is amazing.
When that happened to me, I always try to go below and try to throw the boomerang to get the crystal switch in the right state again.
Yeah, I
should be careful with his hard count though.
What I do is I go south of the barrier and then I menu and try to switch to cane, and then I realize I don't have the cane.
Rando strats.
But yeah, this bomb jump they're doing, Ice Palace bomb jump, probably the most important bomb jump that you need to know.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Because it lets you skip, like a loop and a half through the dungeon that you'd normally have to do to get the crystal switch to be the right way.
Oh, seen some really nice strats by Gem there in the slippery room, whatever you want to call it.
That is actually, that room is called the Lonely Firebar room, which is what one of our group names is.
Ah, okay. Lonely Fire Guard?
Firebar.
Firebar? Oh, it's a firebar.
Yeah.
You see, I have quite a lot to learn tonight. But I'm also not a native speaker, so I probably knew the names in German or whatever.
Well, like, it's a community-given name to that room, so I don't think anyone would have said it in German.
You had to take that away from me.
Just tell it like it is.
No
so Gem actually
Perfect fight. Oh my god.
Gem doing the same strat that we saw Eddie do. We had Greffery do the easier spin plus 6 slash method, which they can sometimes get out of the corner, but he kept them under control. negaZeus had them get out of control a little bit, which can be very scary. Those puffs do 4 hearts of damage if they run into you.
Yeah, I mean, like, I would say in a race context, it's important to have a safe strat there with cold stare, because, like, things can go wrong, like we saw on Gem's screen. You can screw up bump jump. You can have, like, just the tiny thing has to go wrong, and then you lose a bunch of hearts, or even you lose hearts before even entering Ice Palace. That can happen as well. And then it's time to fight cold stare, and you got 3 freaking hearts. So what the hell are you gonna do with that? So in my opinion, it's really, really important to have a safe strat with this fight. And even if it goes out of hand, you have to stay cool, you have to stay relaxed. And negaZeus did a great job there on keeping calm when there's like puffs running around the room and being messy, and there's a ton of lag, and there's also that weird stuff dropping from the ceiling. So like, it's, especially in a race, I would say it's not easy to keep the upper hand there.
Cappy Bouncer with the best tip for cold stare I think I've ever seen. You can't die to cold stare if you don't get hit.
That's technically speaking 100% right statement.
Alright, so all 4 of these guys are about to be in Swamp Palace.
Yeah, time for the worst dungeon in the game.
I think people are kind of polarized as to their opinion of this dungeon.
I'm one of them.
Like, some people really hate it. I kind of like it because it's a nice break to have after what Ice Palace put you through.
it's nice because it's like doesn't contain that many very difficult tricks like bomb jumps or high execution stuff in general, or like the boss fight, whatever. But like I personally dislike it because it's just mostly walking around, running around, and just movement optimization, and still focusing on the game and not screwing up. You know, like even if I have a good Swamp Palace and a good boss fight, I lose 10 seconds, and I'm like, what the hell? So it's, for me, it's always a frustrating split.
I think Swamp Palace, along with Escape and Eastern, is the area where a deep knowledge of movement techniques, like how pumping works, helps the most. You actually do a fair bit of it here, and you also spend a lot of time in shallow water, which means it's more important to dash shorter distances.
Yeah, important to know here is once you get the boots, you should only try to dash when you have to cardinally move into a direction over 4 tiles or something, I was told.
It's 4 or 4.5, I don't remember.
Something like that. So I always like try to think of, okay, is there, if there are like 5 tiles, I have to go into a cardinal direction, then it's faster to dash there. But you also have to be quite on your feet. You have to be quick on your feet with the dashes, because like if you're just like taking too long to press the A button and start your dash, it might have been actually faster to move there.
Yeah, that's something I see some newer players do. If they don't quite understand the rule, so to speak, they'll dash in places that are actually slower.
Yeah.
But in particular, shallow water, that tile rule is, I suppose,
oh
shorter.
My god. Beautiful 1 cycle by Eddie. Sorry.
No, that's
a 0 cycle.
that's a perfectly good reason to interrupt. What he did there was, if you do a hook dash, which hook shot and dash at the same frame, it puts you in a glitched state where the game thinks you're dashing when you're not. So your sword will do slash damage instead of poke damage. So every time that he hook shots one of these puffs, it'll kill it. And he has to do that with a certain rhythm to, I believe, keep the state going. I'm not actually sure because I've never managed to pull this off.
Yeah, I've dabbled into it, but it's oh my god, it was so hard. And especially I think Eddie is, for whatever reason, really consistent with that thing. I was like talking to him lately, and I was like, yo, Zelda didn't get the 0 cycle in World Ricky, how are you doing with this trick? And he was like, oh, last 3 attempts I got it every time, like last 3 of my attempts. So he seems to be pretty good with this trick. I mean, like top tier runners, they have some tricks they feel more comfortable with, they have some tricks they feel less comfortable with. And I would say the quick kill, the so-called 0 cycle on Argus, is definitely one of Eddie's skills that he gets quite often, the 0 cycle.
He's having an insanely good Death Mountain right now too.
Oh yeah.
So I haven't talked about minor glitches too much, but he used hook dash super speed to get up the mountain. Like it puts you in a glitched state where actually if you touch stairs and then leave them, you will walk at dash speed. And that's also something you can activate with the spin dash, which we saw the players do many times much earlier in the run. Gem not going for the quick kill in the first phase.
Getting a little short there by the puffs, but still a 1 cycle.
I don't think anyone else went for it. I actually didn't see if Greff did it.
No, I don't think so. I actually also didn't see it, but it's a really, really, really advanced strat in my opinion. Like, if you got like a if you barely got, like, if you got a 128 or 129 or even 127, I would say there's so many way easier time saves than the Zero Cycle Argus fight. I think the Zero Cycle Argus fight, in my opinion, is like sub 125 speedrun tech.
Oh yeah, I would agree, honestly. It's a 6-second save, I've heard.
Yeah, sounds about right. 6 or 8 seconds, something between that, I would think. Yeah, if you were wondering, I think we're seeing Eddie's split timer for whatever reason. But you see the timer on the other 3 players, so the timer have been synced by the start of the race. So Eddie is having the exact same timer, overall timer when it comes to the race, as the other runners.
So the super speed glitch, Eddie did it in a very particular way, which the other runners haven't done quite the same way. So what you saw Gem do just there was, I forget if it has a name other people call it by. I think it's the stair climb, sword climb, something like that. But if you do a hook dash while you're holding your sword out, you can walk up the stairs at normal walking speed instead of the slower stair walking speed.
And even pump while doing that.
What Eddie did in particular that was so crazy was he actually started that sword climb on the first set of stairs, the shorter one, at the bottom of the mountain. And he managed to leave the stairs before his sword finished charging.
Yeah, that was really amazing.
That just let him keep it the whole way through without stopping. And it's really difficult to, like, you basically need to do that hook dash on the first try to get that to work. And so you're holding B and you're trying to hit Y and A at the same frame while you're still holding B.
Yeah, you have to, how do you call it? Grab the controller?
Claw.
Or claw, yeah,
is
claw,
what
yeah.
people call it, I think.
Yeah. Claw sounds about right. I mean, like, that's what Eddie does. He's the top runner, and we will see a few more of these strats throughout the rest of the run, I think. Having no problems so far. And another, in my opinion, noteworthy thing here is that, if I saw that correctly, none of the runners switched the routing when it comes to picking up the ice rod and the ether medallion, which we need to open up T-Rock and eventually fight, what's his name? Trinex. Because, like, the somewhat safer strat is to pick up that stuff before Swamp. Because you might get hit on Dark Mountain, and then you're not entering Mire with full hearts. But it's kind of crucial to enter Mire with full hearts when you're not using any safety strats there, like the powder, or even Bugnet or bottles or whatever.
And having sword beams also makes it much easier to clear the first Wizrow room in one cycle.
Also seeing WQ strats there on Eddie's screen. And this is a strat I didn't see that often, where you throw the bomb right to the crack, and then the bomb opens up the crack, and you can walk past the bomb without getting hit. So that's also a quite precise trick, in my, if I recall correctly.
Yeah, that's scary because it's your last bomb as well.
Yeah, shoutouts to my buddy TGH, who was actually, oh, nice strat there. Getting the zero cycle. Oh my god. This Eddie. Like, I love him, but I hate him. His execution is just beyond the roof. So nice zero cycle there. Like, every now and then, the boss is spitting some lightnings. Ooh, and negaZeus got a hit there by the Whiz Ropes. That's costing 4 hearts. He already took 2 hits, so... Ooh. I hope he will make it through this dungeon. That's something you not want to have in Mr. Maya.
Since, like, the Vitreous fight, it depends. The fast strategy depends on taking damage, like you saw. So one thing he can do, actually, is he can get a different small key. Instead of the one that's on spikes, he can get the one that's in the big room. It takes some extra time. I don't know how much. I would guess maybe 7 or 8 seconds.
Oh, interesting. Only that much. I thought... Oh, yeah, I know what key you're talking about. In the big room to the, like, up in the middle there, yeah.
He is not getting it, though. He is bypassing it, so he is going to take the 3 hearts of damage from the spikes to get the normal key, which is going to put him in a lot of danger.
Oh, yeah.
Gem has 4 hearts as well, and he's making his way to Vitreous. Greffery is sitting very nicely at 11 hearts.
He got the double heart drop there, I think. You can pick up the heart on the pot and get an additional heart from the one Whiz Rope. Ooh, Gem. Oh, that's annoying.
Oh.
That can happen.
Yeah, so what I like to do for that heart pot you just saw negaZeus grab before the big key door, the Whiz Rope before it. Oh, nice strat from Gem. I did not know you could do that. He actually bonked to jump over that spike without getting hit. You can walk around it. I think that might be a little faster. I've never seen that strat before. I've never seen
that before, no.
I'm not even sure if that's faster, honestly, but that was really cool.
It looked swag.
But yeah, that Whiz Rope, I like to stop my dash short and kill him with a slash. Because if you kill an enemy with a dash, it has 0 chance to drop an item.
Yeah. If you're low on hearts, you should definitely consider not dashing into him. Or use the hookshot and kill him with a pot, or yeah, just like stand next to him. But it's crucial to kill that Whiz Rope before he shoots his thingy, because that like adds additional sprites and it doesn't make the heart spawn, if I recall correctly.
Oh yeah, I think that's true as well.
I was told by Zatox that you have to take care about that, so if that's not true, blame him.
Oh yeah, that's definitely a thing. It happens in some other rooms too.
And Gem having no trouble there with Witty Fight.
I was worried about Gem there. He's on 1 heart.
Oh yeah. Oh, and we see the ultimate safety strat from negaZeus.
Oh! I think we have our first death in this run.
Ooh, that's something you not want to have. Like, especially with the last few eyeballs. He's gonna be pissed about that. But seeing he's like no rage slashes, he's just doing his thing, going into the dungeon again.
Yeah, composure is important. This death loses about 2 minutes for him. He's already behind Eddy by a significant amount, just because of like how good Eddy's execution is, though. So,
yeah,
it's.
I mean, we can be honest here. There were barely any chances of winning this, even with Eddy screwing up very, very much.
If that death had happened to either Gref or Gem, it would be a lot more significant in determining who wins that race.
Yeah, talking about the bottom race there, I'm quite surprised. We're seeing like head-on-head race between Gref and Gem for like the last few dungeons for like 20 or 30 minutes. That's really gonna be exciting.
Yeah, I'm not really surprised at all, because they're some of the closest. They're one of the closest matchups we're going to see in the entire group stage. They're only 9 seeds apart, and there are a lot of people that are in the 128, 129 cluster. But I guess it's a
time. Yeah, I guess it's a time you can reach without, you know, selling your soul to the devil like Eddy did.
Yeah, for sure. But it's also very good that neither of these guys died.
Yeah. Also talking about the devil, Eddy getting really good RNG there. Double pokies going upwards. Like, not the optimal pattern, but enough to make it through there without any big hiccups. sync on Gem and Gref's screen. And we gotta focus quickly on negaZeus part 2 Vidi. Entering with 9 hearts, so that's like should be a little easier. Not getting hit by any eyeballs. Getting one lightning.
Oh.
Ooh, even got hit by lightning,
got that
but
lightning.
his hard con was okay, so he survived it.
I don't think he was
left.
expecting that lightning.
No, that was on the notch there to a 0 cycle, but well executed the second time.
So the lightning on Vitreous occurs after all of its eyeballs have had a chance to do a movement. So if you actually get 2 or more cycles in the fight, the later cycles are going to be shorter because there are going to be fewer little eyeballs to move. So the further you get into that fight, if you don't get a 0 cycle, the more often he's going to be shooting lightning. The more you'll have to be careful. And the lightning, the places it goes is random.
Seems like Gref and Gem know they have to give everything. Like both of them did the risky strat in that one room. I don't know what it is called, with a roller room or something like that.
Yeah.
I guess it's called roller room. I think in the practice ROM it's called roller room.
I think so. Gem had some trouble with the chain chomps. He's down to 3.5 hearts.
And he didn't get the fairy. Gref got the fairy.
Gem may get it on the next Pokey, hopefully.
Yeah, hope his price pack plays along. It's also one of these things I don't understand at all yet, the price pack thing. I just like, go for it and hope for the best.
The main thing that you need to know if you want the Turtle Rock Fairy is... Okay, he's got the fairy. Oh,
Ooh,
he cannot touch those Stalfos heads. Those will do
that was super close. Whew. My heart just stopped for a second. Like, he had 3.5 hearts, and the weird undead heads, which are like floating around the room, they do 4 hearts. So that was almost ripped there. Not on wood.
I completely missed Eddie's Trinex fight, but I'm sure it was excellent.
Oh yeah, Trinex is a pushover. At least for players like Eddie, I guess.
But yeah, so the prize pack thing, there are a select few enemies that are in the prize pack with the fairy drop in it. These are the fancy Hyrule, Night Guards, like the blue ones with the fancy armor. Halmasaurs are in it. Pokies are in it. And the drops are in a set order. So the fairy, I believe, is the second drop in a pack. So you want to make sure that you kill the 2 blue Hyrule Knights in Aghanis Tower with a dash that will force them to not drop anything, and you'll be much more likely to get the fairy drop in Turtle Rock from a Pokey.
Also interesting strats by Gem there, using the boomerang to get through that one room with the roller. Seeing safe strats on Gref's screen there with a laser, the laser skip.
Yeah, everyone doing a good job on the laser skip.
Doing Joe D'Amelio safe strats on Gref's screen. I'm just calling them Joe D'Amelio safe strats because, like, I always heard Zatox talking about that. Like, not doing the, what you call it, the red cane dash or whatever it is called. And you get the additional bomb, so that's pretty good for G-Tower. So let's see on Gref's screen, we see like the safe strat on Trinex. Wise choice, because like if you screw up your Ice Rod shot in there, you can have a hard time.
Yeah, if the fight goes really badly, you can run out of magic, which is a total disaster. You have to mirror out.
Yeah. Gem doing the same strat, that's actually interesting. Like, based on what I saw in his race today, I thought he would go for the top-down strat. And interestingly enough, Gref having no trouble there with phase 2. Let's see how Gem does it.
Phase 2 is pretty easy. Just gotta get this double spin.
Yeah, just have to be patient enough to release your spin slash. Both having no trouble at all here with phase 2. Quite another interesting thing there. Ooh, sorry, negaZeus having a little trouble there with that pokey. Interesting enough, both Gem and Gref got like the weird 4-hit thingy on the right head of Trinex. Like sometimes he takes 4 hits, sometimes he takes 5 hits. I don't know why, actually.
That is because the Fire Rod does splash damage. It has like a lingering hitbox, so sometimes it can hit twice.
Oh, interesting.
So when you do the Fire Rod shot to stun him, sometimes it'll actually do damage as well.
That's cool.
Nice mimics. From...
Yeah. I hate this guy. I just hate him.
So those mimics, they basically copy your movements in reverse. And they respond to your D-pad mostly, like not to Link's actual movements. So you can manipulate them by holding a direction while slashing. So they will move, Link will not because he's busy slashing. You can do the same with pulling statues. There's some, or pulling a wall. There's a lot of different strats people like to use, but what Eddie did is generally the fastest, and it's pretty difficult to to get it perfectly.
This section here in G Tower is so optimized. It's insane. Oh my god, getting screwed up by those blue guys, that's kind of annoying.
So Gem's actually getting the first torch key in Ganon's Tower, which is a little bit slower.
Yeah.
The room Greffery is in right now, actually, the key in the bottom right pot, you can despawn that key if you pick up the right pot but don't pick up the magic underneath it, because of Sprite Overlord, which is what we were talking about earlier in the Mire room with the Whisper of the Heart in the pot.
Well-programmed game. But I mean, like, I guess you can enter and re-enter, leave and re-enter the room, and it should be fine, right?
I'm not sure actually.
Well, let's hope it never happens in a race. I mean, you have no reason to pick up that pot with a magic refill, so it should be fine. Oh, I didn't see Eddie's Lenmo fight, but I guess he did fine.
I don't think there is much to see.
Yeah.
But yeah, the Landbow rematch, you have to refight all the Light World bosses in this tower, and the Lammelus fight is much easier because you have Tempered Sword, you have the Fire Rod. If you do a Tempered Spin attack, it'll do the same amount of damage as the Fire Rod, and you only need 2 hits on each.
In trouble. Oh, we're seeing a red almost down gem screen. That's a bit unfortunate. And he's having only 1 arrow left. Making use of that and getting through the fight. Oh, that red armor here. That can really throw you off, and that's kind of unfortunate. I know that really hurts in a race. Especially if you have the feeling like you're behind. I mean, like, these guys, they don't know where their contestants are currently, but I mean, based on their PBs, they might be quite sure that it's going to be a close one. And you see Gem also going there for the safe strat. Don't blame him at all. It's a tough thing with a gauntlet coming, lying ahead, and also seeing Gref going into that room with already 6 hearts lost, 7 now. So they better be careful in Gauntlet and Ganon eventually.
Yeah, these rooms can be deadly for sure. There is an extra room on the Cannonball Bridge. If you go to the room to the south, you can get fairies, you can get full magic.
Yeah, and very interesting strat by Gem there, dashing through this room in a quite uncommon manner, in my opinion. I've never seen that before.
It looks like neither of the runners decided to visit that room, so they're going with what they have. So they actually do have the option of being in the chat or watching the restream if they choose to. So they may know where their opponent is relative to them, and I'm sure they know that they're going to lose a significant amount of time if they visit the safety room.
And also on another note, if they are going to be really insecure about Ganon, and if they're going to be really low on hearts, they can still pick up a rather convenient fairy on the bottom of the pyramid, where you simply have to dash into the one tree there. So if they will be feeling uncomfortable, they can do that. We'll see if one of our runners decides to go for that backup strat, but I think both of them are rather going all in.
All in seems to kind of be the theme of this race. Like, none of these guys picked up any safeties except for the Sanctuary Heart, and that barely counts as one.
Yeah, like especially with negaZeus, I wasn't expecting that. I mean, his PV is a 134, so that's pretty neat in my opinion. Oh, having the bad anti-fairy there, that costs you 2 hearts every time. Kind of annoying. Eddie already entering phase 4 in the Ganon fight.
He's almost done. He's so far ahead of everyone else.
Yeah.
And the two guys on the bottom, they have not had bad runs at all.
Oh no. I mean, like, Gem probably is quite not amused about him dropping down in Tower of Hera, but like, that stuff happens.
Alright, nice Ganon fight from Eddie.
And Eddie finishes with a not SRL time, but speed racing TV time of 1:26.34. Congrats to Eddie. I mean, Ganon fight. GG indeed. I mean, like, Ganon is basically a pushover for him.
I'm reluctant to say it's a pushover for anyone. That fight is hard.
I mean, like, compared to fights like the Argus Zero Cycle and stuff. Oh my god. Gref getting a nice free pattern there. Quote-unquote free pattern.
Yeah, Aghanim 2 can be pretty luck-based. Based on where the clones end up.
Yeah. Getting a neat free cycle, that's very nice.
Looks like Gem's not getting great patterns.
No. Ooh. Yeah, that happens to me as well.
Oh, and then sometimes you just don't release the spin on time, and you mess up a pretty free hit.
Almost like a 5-ish cycle or something. So let's see how Gref does on the Ganon fight. Let's go.
Yeah, so Gref has 8 hearts. Ganon's fire bats in the first 2 phases do 4. The Trident also does 4. So he can take 2 hits. If he dies, this is an instant lead change.
Already took 1 hit. Better be careful there. But he got the good phase 2. Good positioning.
This is really just... Okay, so phase 3, he starts breaking the floor. The spiral bats that he's spitting out now happen if you don't hit him quickly enough, but they only do 2 hearts. Their main danger is if they knock you off.
Gem getting the bat pattern. Now let's see how he's gonna handle it. Nice spin slash. Here are the dashes.
Oh, okay, he's doing the dashes. Alright.
Nice strat there.
It's a pretty advanced Ganon strat.
Yeah. Well played by Gem. Nice execution.
Like, honestly, I feel like that strategy is much more advanced than like a 129 time.
Maybe it looks really scary because you're always standing so close to Ganon.
He's getting a lot of warps. Gem is getting a lot of warps in phase 3. Gref has already entered phase 4, so...
Yeah, so he...
The Gref had...
Gotta play it by book.
Already, and that's been widened further.
Nice. Gref with the last hit. Going for a sub 130, that's a pretty good time for a race.
Yep, GG to Gref, and
finishing at a 129.46 speed racing TV time. Ooh, getting the blue there. I mean, Gem probably saw that Gref finished, so I guess like there's kind of the focus getting away now. It's just about to finish the race, but still, even though if you lost the race, there's still it's still recommended to, of course, finish the run as quickly as possible, because all times from the group stage actually are gonna count towards the seeding for the bracket stage. So you're still having a motivation to finish your run in a proper manner, even though you lost the race. So GG to Gref and Gem. That was a quite interesting race there.
Yeah, I think it's definitely one of the better races we're going to see in the group stage. Yeah, Gem finishing with a 130.40. Gref with a 129.46.
And on negaZeus, we got him finishing up Aga number 3. Nice, with a triple hit. That's pretty neat. Having no problem there with Aga number 2. Good fight by negaZeus there.
Alright, so we'll see if we can get any of these guys in for interviews. Asking in the SRTV chat. Hopefully they're looking at that.
Hello.
Hi there.
Hello.
Rev.
Yo.
Congrats to the race.
Thank you. That was close. Holy jeez.
And we have Gem.
Hello.
GG Gem.
GG.
Close race, guys.
Yeah, that was amazing to watch.
Glad to put on a show at least.
Yeah, that was great.
So I gotta ask right off the bat, Jim, how did you feel in Tower of Hera?
Oh, that sucked, dude. It's always great. You practice it like 20 times before the race and get it every single time. And of course you miss it in the race.
Yeah.
And then of course you get 6 blue balls after.
Yeah, that was just the kick when I was at the ground.
If I recall correctly, you guys both weren't too far behind of your PB in that race.
For myself, at the end, I was about a minute and a half behind.
Yeah, same.
Yeah, the Hera falling down on Moldorm, and then I did something in pod outside of the hammer jump I messed up, but then the rest of it kind of stayed the same from there.
Yeah, like you guys were head on head for like 30, 40 minutes throughout the game. Like from, I guess, Thieves Town, you kind of synced, and from then it was like really head on head every time, and it was nice to watch.
Oh, good.
Yeah, that's nice.
Can't wait to watch the VOD after.
No, this is definitely a good one to watch.
Yeah, there are going to be lots of dumb questions from me.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, Zeus did take a Death 2 gain in phase 2. got hit
Although-
by a stray fire bat.
Unfortunately, he didn't know about the free pattern there on the top right. But seems to be just fine. Using the hook shot and the sword to get through there.
So I gotta ask you too. How did you guys feel knowing how close your PBs were coming into this race?
I was honestly incredibly worried because I felt very inconsistent recently. So I had a feeling if there was a match, this was going to be the one I was going to lose.
Yeah, I was hoping I would stand a chance, and I guess I did until I like choked hard in the end game.
It kind of shows for Link to the Past, it just takes one person to be on a good day, one person on a bad day, and everything could change.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
like you guys entered your group with the top times there. We got in oh god, what is that group? It's group AC. I don't know your group name.
Mimics.
Sorry,
Yeah.
group Mimics. Group AC on challenge. We got Mysticum in there as well with a 145. And in the name of DT, which is probably more common in the rando scene, with a 135 NMG PB. So that was kind of the top game of that group already, I would say. And hell yeah, it was quite close.
So the thing with the seed 1 versus seed 2 matchup is, I think, like, even if Greffery lost, he'd still obviously have a good chance of making it into the bracket. But I think it's the seed 2 versus seed 3 where it gets really on the edge.
Yeah, should be. But actually, in the name of DT, I don't know, like, his PB is 7 months old. And I know he has been playing or like has been really active in the rando community. So maybe he will like be a serious contestant when it comes to advancing into the bracket stage. I don't know.
Okay, and GG to negaZeus, finishing with the time of 1:36.18.
GG. I mean, that's like the gamble you have to take when you're not using any safety strats at all. You can just die on Ganon, and unfortunately he died being into phase 3 or 4, if I recall correctly. So that was kind of unfortunate, but luckily you respawn right on the pyramid, so it shouldn't be too much of a time loss.
Yeah, so one crazy thing about this race, actually, the only death that any 4 of you had was Zeus dying to Vitreous. And he died once to Ganon as well, but that was at the very end. And none of you took any safeties except for the Sanctuary Heart.
We were
Yeah.
kind of disappointed. We expected more deaths, you know.
Same. I expected to die on Vitreous.
Oh, that was so
that was
close.
close.
Oh.
I was really scared.
I saw that and I was looking, oh, he's going to video. Oh god, 4 hearts. Uh-oh.
And that stuck. It annoyed me. And then I took an extra hit on the spikes for the key. Yeah, that was silly.
All right, so I think Eddie is not going to come in for an interview.
No, he has to go to bed. It's already past midnight in Germany. I'm just kidding, by the way. I don't know his sleep schedule. I mean, he's streaming quite early in the morning, so talking about streaming, if you guys like this, give all runners a follow on Twitch. Shoutouts again to negaZeus, Eddie, or aka Dark Mind Demon, and on the bottom, Greffery. I'm not butchering it this time, and Gem. So if you like this, give our runners a follow. And of course, if you haven't followed Speed Gaming 3, 1, 2, 3, and 4 yet, follow Speed Gaming. We got a lot of cool stuff coming up in the following weeks with the No Major Glitches tournament. We got a tournament with 128 contestants. So it's going to be all over Speed Gaming the next few days. So if you like what you see, stay tuned.
Yeah, the next few weeks even. And also Speed Gaming 5 occasionally, when it is needed, we'll have some matches.
Oh, interesting. I didn't even follow that yet. Gotta do that right now. So it seems Zeus also isn't available for a post-race interview. So I guess like shoutouts to Gref and Gem. Like this was really interesting to watch there. I have to say it was head-on-head up until T-Rock / G-Tower, and in G-Tower, Gref kind of took the lead. I guess, Gem, you also had a little bit of trouble there with almost fight number 2.
That sucks.
Oh no, I didn't see that.
Yeah, I held left for too long and then bumped into the armors, and then I got
Oh.
a red knight.
Oh
And ran out of arrows.
Just the kind of stuff that happens in a race, yeah. I mean, like, I cannot overstate this enough. This is like not an easy game to me. I mean, I'm not that long into the speedrun community, but I have to say I'm struggling big time with A Link to the Past, especially. It all looks easy and fun, but you have to be really focused to perform the tricks correctly and everything. So shout out to you guys. That was a good race in my opinion.
All right, and Zeus actually is coming in for an interview. Welcome, GG.
Hey, thanks. I had a good run going, and then died.
Yeah, that Vitreous death was unfortunate.
Yeah, well, I mean, I got hit by the wizard early, and then I panicked when I didn't have enough health. So, oh well, next time. It was still a really solid run for me, so I'm really happy.
Yeah, so I pointed this out in commentary, but one thing you can do if you take a hit that early is you could have opted to get the key in the chest in the main room instead of the spike key.
Oh, okay, yeah, I was thinking about that too. I was like, how can I not take 3 hearts of damage? But okay, good to know.
Yeah, that's what I would have done at least. I think a lot of people would have done that too, but it's something that some people may not be aware of.
Yep, yeah, definitely didn't know.
But yeah, that would have saved you 3 hearts.
Yeah, talking
Myers, Myers just rough, dude, though. But
oh yeah, it really
good job
is
on powering through.
It is quite a rough split, especially if you're not taking any safeties, where I was like a little bit surprised, I have to say, on negaZeus with having a PB on the leaderboards with a 1:34.09 and not taking the powder strat. So that's like pretty cool in my opinion, that you're like really going risky, going all in with that race. So what's up with that, negaZeus?
I'm just probably dumb. I switched a long time ago, and yeah, I've just been doing it that way for a while. Oh, and I say a while, I haven't played the game in like a year since we started this tournament. But yeah, no, it's just what I started practicing because I guess I wanted to lose some time, and I knew that dropping the safeties could do that. And yeah, so now I'm trying to learn the real strats, I guess. Or the ones to get down to a lower time.
I mean, like, it's a great choice, of course. I mean, we were talking about that earlier, picking up the powder so you can turn anti-fairies into fairies saves, like, wastes 37 seconds, if I recall correctly. And not to mention the time where you have to bring up the menu and switch to the powder and actually use it, blah, 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 blah. Right. So like seeing that and your 1:34.09 on leaderboards, I think we're gonna definitely see some PBs along the tournament.
That's what I'm hoping for. That would be so good.
Well, best of luck.
Yeah,
best of luck with that. So how are you feeling about that Ganon fight there?
Well, I mean, my Ganon's okay, obviously not that good. But I mean, going in, I knew I had, I think, 1 heart or half a heart, and this is the exact same thing that happened in the run I was doing to practice. So it already made me nervous enough, and Yeah, the fire bat. I don't know why I decided to use the hook shot. Grab the torch, and then I just ran right into it. But yeah, no, I thought my Ganon's okay. I obviously need to improve it. But it went okay. I mean, once I died, that second death was me knowing that I could have maybe come close to a PB, and too busy thinking about that, I guess. But I finished it.
Indeed, it was a great run. Like seeing your splits there, that was a good performance, I guess. Like and like I said, thumbs up and best of luck with all the future runs. I think we're definitely gonna see a PB, maybe even in the group stage there. And you got your we got Group G with, of course, Dark Mind Demon and negaZeus. And we got along in that group, oh hey, it's David with a 130.07. And oh my god, what, Bruce Carter? I don't know if I'm pronouncing that correctly.
I think that's how it's supposed to be pronounced in Polish.
Yeah, Bruce Carter. With a 213.39. So I mean, like, the 213.39, I don't know how I should feel about that, but I think it's can be definitely close when it comes to the second place in that group with you and oh hey, it's David. So looking forward to that race.
Yep, yeah, I'm looking forward to it too. I'm racing on Wednesday, I think is what it's set to, so gonna keep practicing.
Like I said earlier, before you came in, actually, Zeus, the Seed 2 and Seed 3 match in the groups are going to be absolutely pivotal. So it's like really going to decide who moves on and who doesn't. So good luck on that.
Yeah, thanks.
And I think we can probably wrap up here. Any last words from any of the runners?
We hope to see a lot more races like we've seen today, and it's going to be a lot coming down the pipe soon, so it's going to be awesome.
Yeah, and yeah, thanks for commentating. Thanks for restreaming, Piso, and yeah.
Yeah,
thanks a lot for that, guys.
Thanks for the race. It was a pretty excellent race.
Oh yeah, it was quite fun. Like I was talking to Alminster earlier, and we were both like, "Oh my god, we signed up for this, and it was only 2 people racing, and now it became 4 because he's scheduled at the same time." And you know, like there's always going on so much stuff. But I have to say, I enjoyed doing commentary with you, Alminster. That was like really charming, and also learning new speed tech about the game, talking about the game. So that's what we're gonna do here. We want to restream A Link to the Past, share the fun, share the knowledge, improving the game, and just having fun with the community. So that was a great in my opinion.
Yeah, it was fun commentating with you as well. It was interesting to kind of see how you learned the game and like where you came from, getting a 128. I think you ran Oracles too.
Yeah, Zelda Oracle of Seasons. I'm kind of on a hiatus right now, but we'll see when I might get back eventually.
But yeah, so the next Link to the Past No Major Glitches race is going to be
at 8:30 p.m.
8:30 p.m. on Speed Gaming 3.
Gaming 3, yes.
We have Lanxian versus Fricker22 and Scrivo versus JC87. Now I understand why Scrivo was telling me to plug this match. Other stuff we've got right now, we have a quad Rockman 2 any percent race on Speed Gaming 4. We have on Speed Gaming 3 before Link to the Past race will be Diddy Kong Racing. At 7 on Speed Gaming 2, we have Robbie Ruby Double Anti Bingo, and at 7 p.m. on Speed Gaming 1, we will have Andy versus Pika Pals in the Link to the Past randomizer Key Sanity tournament. That is game 3 of their semifinals. So, yeah, stick around. Check out all the other awesome stuff going on.
Once again, shoutouts to Fiesel and Speed Gaming and their mod team and everyone who's involved with this. Always great to have these tournaments and games restreamed in the very best manner you can imagine. So my name is Bamboo Shadow, and I was joined by
Elminster.
Thank you once again for the nice race, Gref, Gem, and negaZeus, and also shoutouts to Eddie, who can't be here now. You guys have a great evening. Thanks for stopping by, and we'll see you around.